Hello everybody, welcome to Misunderstood. It's been such a long time, well really like 3 weeks since I was last here with you. I took a small break just to catch up on life, and a lot has been happening and I am jumping the gun and I'll tell you all about that later. But welcome to Misunderstood. For any of you who's new here, welcome to this amazing platform where you and I have this conversation. And it's a space where we give understanding to happenings, to seasons in life, to happenings that just don't make sense. And we just give them a sense of understanding. I don't know everything. And so what I share here really is some of the experiences I've gone through myself, some of the lessons I've learned, but also some of the things I've read or I've picked from places, and I come to share them here because I'm very interested in sharing so that also you can share as well. So welcome to Misunderstood. My name is Nyawira, and today we're going to have a fantastic conversation. The next few episodes are going to feel like you are hearing a sequel to some episodes, but really it's because I've been interacting with some of you guys, and thank you so much for all of you who constantly come into the DM and just share with me what you feel and even just express yourself so vulnerably. I don't take that for granted. These episodes are going to feel like you're hearing a part 2 of some episodes. It's because I feel like there's some conversations that didn't end really, but were just a continuation of they just felt like they were not complete. So this is like this series would be like a continuation series. So thank you so much for coming. And today we're going to be talking about forgiveness. Now, I've been hurt by so many people. And in equal measure, I have hurt many people. But why I want to talk about forgiveness is because there's an illusion about forgiving people that I feel like nobody ever addresses. Let me just take you back a bit. If you haven't watched it, it's a good time for you to pause and just go to that video. Is that I did a video on when and how to end friendships honorably. And I think somebody, I can't remember her name, and I need to get serious about remembering names. She DM'd me and told me she needs to learn how to forgive people who have hurt her because she felt like it's okay to let them go, but they really hurt her, and so she wants to let go of them, but forgive them also as she's releasing them. And it made me wonder, how is there a way to forgive? What are some misconceptions about forgiveness? And so this is just me sharing that in the same way I'm telling you all these stories is because I had to read a bit more about it, because as a person I really struggle with forgiving. Maybe you're like me and you really beba when somebody hurts you, but I hope this episode speaks to both of us, and I hope it reassures you that in this journey of forgiveness we are many who are confused about it. Forgiveness is really the act of coming to terms and finding a genuine resolve about a situation that has come up between you and another person. I believe strongly as Nyawira that forgiveness is fully a spiritual matter. I don't think in the human capacity you can just easily forgive, and I think it takes God to bring you into a place where you can realize, hiya, now this one has gone overboard. Now we need to forgive each other. So I think forgiveness is it's a very spiritual matter. And so even how I share about this may sound a bit carnal, but I want you to understand that regardless of what I share, I think God is an anchor for this conversation. So forgiveness is entirely spiritual. Forgetting, however, is an act of the mind, which is physical, meaning it's easy to forgive, but it's not easy to forget. I'm from the school of thought that forgiveness is a great thing. And I think my train of thought is that when I forgive you, I don't necessarily forget as Nyawira. And so I don't like that thing of, Nyawira, you need to forgive and forget. I hate that statement because I actually feel like you're imposing a reality on me. My mind doesn't erase, like, I've forgiven you, delete from memory. No, that's not how my mind functions. The pain will still come to me. And so I believe that the test in forgetting is that when the thought comes up, you must remember, or you must be committed to forgiving somebody. Somebody hurt you, say, for example, you were in a relationship that just wasn't working, and you felt like this guy really hurt you. You had seen the end with this guy, and he just called it quits. In that situation, you can forgive him and release him. But every time you're triggered by that thinking of, this is the one who got away. This one should have been my person. This one. But when that time comes, the test is that you're committed to forgiving, even when those thoughts of anger and suppressed emotion come up. So is forgiving there? It is there. It's godly. Is forgetting there? forgetting is something I think we need to work on. Not necessarily to forget, because it's hard to forget when somebody hurts you, but the test is, can you be committed to forgiving them, or can you be committed to being in the space of forgiveness when those thoughts surface? So that having been said, I thought through a few things on the process of forgiveness. I don't want to tell you that this is how you should forgive, but I want to just normalize a few things in this journey towards forgiveness. First, I'm from the school of thought that forgiveness is very hard to be instantaneous, because if my emotions are hurt, it's not a button on and off. And so my thinking is that there are ways of dealing and there are paths. I don't share these in an order where it's step 1 to step 2. So you could be at different levels, and I hope that even as you are watching this, you will find where you are in this place and just share it in the comment section. I'd really like to know how you're coping with it. The first one is that you must learn to accept your emotions. You know, when you're hurt by somebody, you're hurt. And I think that word is not, it's as basic as it comes. You will be angry, you will be sad, you will be heartbroken, you will be disappointed. And these emotions, and you will feel a sense of loss, you'll feel a sense of grieving. And I think the trick is that many people end up not being able to forgive well because they turn off instead of dealing with. And so I hope that even as you are transitioning through this forgiveness journey with somebody, because I know as we have this conversation, somebody is coming into mind for you. So I want you to know that it's okay to deal with your emotion. Figure out how it feels for you and deal with that feeling genuinely. Don't deal with it from a place of, I am bigger than this emotion. No. If you're hurting, be hurt. If you're crying, cry. If you want to be in a space on your own for some time, do it. It's okay to go through that emotion, because when you suppress it or you ignore it, it resurfaces, and you don't want that to be the situation. The next thing to do is weigh your anger. You know, I know as a person, when when I'm offended, I get very disturbed. And sometimes that disturbing feeling can manifest into anger. And I learned as I was reading and preparing for this video is that there are two types of anger. There's constructive anger and there's destructive anger. Constructive anger will have you processing an emotion of anger with the intention of a positive result. So say, for example, I broke up with this guy broke up with me, he hurt my feelings, I'm so mad at him. The constructive way of processing that emotion is, I'm so mad at him, but this is where I am and I must come to terms with that. Destructive anger is, you're just ranting about the same thing, and the problem with doing that is that you're affirming that thought in your mind, and with time it manifests into a giant you can't control. So I beg you, by the mercies of God, choose to process your anger if it comes upon you in a positive light, because you can't be angry with your head in the ground. You must be angry with a desire of getting out of this situation. You know what I mean? The other thing you need to do is that know that when you choose to forgive somebody, it doesn't mean you're okay with the offense. Now, I just want to say this because as I thought about forgiveness, I realized that I, as Nyawira, sometimes have felt like if I forgive you, I have relinquished my power, or I have made you think that what you have done to me is okay. No. Forgiving somebody doesn't mean you have agreed to their bad behavior, or you have condoned bad behavior, or that you're okay with being offended. Forgiving somebody means that you are aware of the hurt that has come your way, and you have accepted it and you are making peace with it. So if you're in that situation, I just want you to know that if you forgive somebody, you're not accepting their bad manners. No. And you're not telling them it's okay to step on me. No. Because the next step is something that, you know, this is my gospel anywhere and everywhere I am, is that after you come to terms with it, you must create a boundary must be created. I don't think in my life I've ever said the word boundary more times than on Misunderstood because I've learned that the process of relating with people calls for people to know their limits. See, when you hurt me and you come back into my life and we don't resolve it and I tell you I'm good now, it means if you do it again, it'll be permissive. So I want to understand, I want us to realize that when somebody has hurt you and you have forgiven them, you must have a conversation with them where you set a boundary to tell them that, by the way, hapa ulinikosea. And let me just give a quick disclaimer to boundaries in forgiveness as a conversation, is that when you are creating a boundary after you have been hurt and in the process of forgiving somebody, do not dismiss the person, do not insult the person, do not blame this other person, do not abuse this person. Remember, you're creating a boundary so that you can relate better moving forward. So with that in mind, I just want you to know that you cannot create a boundary when you're angry. So that's why I said at the beginning that you must process the emotions so that you can be sober-minded to come up with a decision of a boundary. All right? The next thing is that there are people who have stress techniques. If you have been offended, for example, I know guys who will walk out of a room and take a long walk. I know guys who will cycle. I know guys who will take a long drive. I know guys who will go and cook. Others even impulsively clean. Other people, for example, I know will write. That's me. Other people, for example, will say, I want some time out. And I think the thing about that is that when you are in the process of being when you have just been offended, everything inside you can really be shaken. The test with stress techniques is that you must be able to sit down and bring yourself into a sense of balance. And that sense of balance is a place that some of you guys, different guys, do it differently. I know people who tell you, when I'm offended, the first thing I do is pray so that I can just get my mind in check. The other guys who will tell you, when I'm offended, I immediately go quiet because I know I can't say anything wrong. Figure out what your stress technique is and don't misuse it. Don't misuse your stress technique, but use it in the time of offense has come to you, all right? The next thing you need to do is, if you're willing to forgive, it means that this is a good person. It means that this is not a person you want to do away with. This is a person you want to continue relating with. So when you're in the process of forgiving somebody, you must constantly bring into your mind the memories of this person being a good person. I'm from the school of thought that I don't believe that they are bad people. I think people do bad things. And that's a place that has brought me a lot of trouble, because how I see it is that Nyawira is not a bad person. I've just made bad decisions in my life. I've done bad things to people. That's so important to note, because when you remember somebody as a good person, you stop seeing them as this mistake they have made. And some of those good things that they have done more than likely will cause you to be less harsh on the forgiveness journey, because you'll remember this guy kosead me at this point in time, but I remember that this guy came through for me when I was having a hard time. I remember that this guy encouraged me. I remember that this guy opened a door for me. I remember that this guy gave me an opportunity I never had. If that's the situation, remember the good, because sometimes it will help you balance so that you don't just see an evil person when you see this thing. Finally, is that you must take responsibility. And taking responsibility is not saying I'm blaming myself for the issue. It's saying that you must take action once you have been offended. I know that I'm a serial practitioner of this behavior, that when I'm offended, I just leave you alone. You'll find I've just disappeared, I've gone into a rock, I look like a lizard, I'm just hiding somewhere because I just don't want to be around you. Taking responsibility is acknowledging first that you have been offended and then having a difficult conversation. Now, this is a hard one, and I confess that it's really hard for me and I'm really trying to do it, but you need to be careful, because you need to take responsibility in wisdom and caution, because you can go with the intention of having a good conversation, then here it's like I ignited a bad fire. So even as you take responsibility in the desire of taking charge of the situation. Step up and say, I didn't appreciate this. Have a difficult conversation. And sometimes I watched in a show I was watching where you jump into an I feel moment, and this is a good place for both of you to say, I felt that when you said this, it meant this to me. I felt that when you did this to me, I took it this way. I felt, and that's a good way of expressing your emotions in a sober way. So take responsibility. Forgiveness is not hard, but it is a constant, it's a constant in the journey of life. As long as you're relating, you will be offended, meaning that you must practice how to forgive. And in due time, you'll realize that when you forgive people, you become stronger at emotional control, because you're not petty, but you're objective in your relationships. I know it's a hard thing, and I'm preaching to myself because I know as Nyawira, I really struggle with forgiving, but I'm trusting God that, I'll become better at it. I know that many of you guys have something to say, so please, I beseech thee, leave a comment in the comment section. Share this video with as many people as can be. I know that there are people around you who have hurt you, or people that you have hurt, and you want to ignite this conversation. Share this video. Maybe they'll feel a bit warmer to talk to you. Tell the world we have a good conversation here, and I'd be so happy to see that you guys are relating genuinely and authentically, and you know how we do. If you have something to share, please reach out to me. My DMs are always all open, so please, I really appreciate the feedback. And so until next time, I want you to know that we can forgive each other. We can do better at forgiving. And in one way or another, I'd like to know how your journey of forgiveness has been. So don't forget to leave a comment, all right? The video today has been sponsored by Skillshare, right? And I'm so excited that we finally have somebody in this community who's willing to jump onto our story and just support this vision. And so shout out to Skillshare. What is Skillshare, in case you're wondering? Skillshare is a community of people pursuing knowledge in different ways. You can learn about so many things on this platform. They have marketing, they have graphics, they have video, they have photography, they have, name it, design work. They have fantastic knowledge spaces. And I don't know if you're like me, but I like to learn new things. All throughout COVID, I've seen so many guys who've learned so many things. There's a girl I met the other day who told me during COVID, she learned how to shona, to sew. And through that, she's made an income from it. Through Skillshare, you can acquire these skills and then become better at what you know, or just learn a new thing. So in case you're wondering how to get this and more information, check out my description in the bottom. There's a link there, and jump onto this wagon. Let's learn together. And through the month of November particularly, I'm happy to hear what you guys are learning. And also, if you're learning through Skillshare, let me know. Join this fantastic community. I think there's no greater community than that of people who are willing to learn together. So welcome to Skillshare, and yeah, welcome. Please learn a skill. It's for our own good. It'll help us build our confidence together. So till next time, learn a skill. Click the link in the description and learn something. All right? Love you guys.